by SK Gaming. Kind of surprised it a little bit, but if you dug a little bit deeper, it became clear that obviously Alliance had been practicing that in scrims. They also banned out the Varus against them, so that'll be interesting if that comes on the table for Alliance.
I think this might be a jungle ban. I think with Elise and Evelynn open, those are options for Alliance to consider. And we did talk about how both of these teams may stray away from those junglers, and we talked about it, how important LeBlanc was for both mid laners. Fizz is still up and available. It's something that Millenium have run multiple times in the past, and it is something Coop will consider if Alliance don't pick too much CC to lock him down.
Yeah, and we see there the first pick actually for Millenium was Lucian. Interestingly enough, if you look at Tabs, and I think we mentioned this before the game yesterday, that actually when they win, his scores are pretty incredible. In fact, he's not really died all that much in their wins. If I look at his scores, 403, 926, 507, 607, 7110. Tabs doesn't die when they're doing well, so we'll see what AD carry he comes onto with Lucian gone. For Alliance, their picks were the Renekton for Wicked in the top lane, and Shook's going to get the Elise.
So in terms of the picks that we're expecting for Tabs, I think Caitlyn has to be the obvious choice. Lucian and Caitlyn are the sort of go-to AD carries at this point in time, and it's something that Tabs has played a lot of as well. His Caitlyn mechanics, if I can use that word, his positioning is very, very good as we've gone later in the split. Earlier on, he was doing a few silly things, and it got him caught out of position. What I'm interested to see is where Alliance goes for their mid laner, because we know Orianna is still up and available, something Froggen's played before. Anivia, he's actually played this split, and with so many mid lane bans, I wonder if one of these players might not go for a Gragas. It is an opportunity.
Wow, are we going to see Hecarim coming back in here? Aranea did play a lot of him in the summer split of the 2013. Just forget what I said, because it's Evelynn. Something that we have already seen Aranea bringing to the table and worked decently well for them. In fact, their win against SK, he played an Evelynn, which didn't have a massive scoreline, but he did all the right things there.
Yeah, and when they played against Gambit, it was Aranea's Evelynn that went, I think, 4-1 in the early stages of the game. He did very, very well, but unfortunately, he was the only form of initiation. I keep calling out wave clear and initiation because they are two very crucial things at LCS level. And right now, Millenium don't have any way of actually starting a fight. I wonder if either J-Re or Nif are going to go for the likes of the Annie or the Leona, because both supports are still up.
Well, Annie may just be that choice. Sivir was locked in, so they've got one half of that duo. And will they take then the Annie for Nif in this one? He's played a whole host of supports himself. Morgana, of course, the one that he pulled out yesterday, which worked so very well for them. But this time around, it's going to be Annie, Sivir. And what will that actually leave here on the table for Millenium to be going for? It's looking like Gragas, and I was going to say Vayne, but that wouldn't make much sense since we've already got Lucian as the first pick.
Yeah, I think just highlighting Vayne for fun at this point in time. The Leona is locked in. Now, this is great for Millenium because their last few games, they have sort of stalled in the mid game. They've earned themselves leads, and then they've just been unable to actually lock themselves a good, a clean team fight. We highlighted the fact that Gragas was still available. This is a safe pick for Curb, and I think now that it's locked in, the Millenium composition does a lot of things very, very well. If you have J-Re's Leona initiating with the Solar Flare and let Aranea coming in from the side with that Agony's Embrace, that is a very strong, powerful initiation. Goes a little bit wrong, hey, Gragas can throw down his barrel to disperse everyone, and Trundle's got his pillar for some good counter engage as well.
Actually, the second time only that we're seeing the Leona this season for Millenium, and that came in their week 1 loss, the second game of the season against Gambit. So interesting that he brings that now back to the table with obviously the Thresh already gone out there and Annie already taken away from him. What are Alliance going to bring to the table now? This is the pick for Froggen. Is he going to go for the Anivia, or is he going to go a different direction?
My instinct actually says Anivia might not be bad in this situation. You've got zone control, and Orianna could be a possibility as well. And I really don't know what Froggen's going to be thinking about. Yasuo has been banned, I think, 6 times up until this point against Froggen. It is open and available. Nobody else can give a knock-up. He's locked it in. So we are going to be seeing Froggen on Yasuo. Now, this is going to be very difficult for Froggen because he is going to be responsible for his own knockups right now. There's not a lot of other displacement on his team. So if Froggen doesn't get ahead in lane, team fights are going to be incredibly difficult for him to get a very good last breath off.
And this is going to be the first time that we actually see this season Froggen on a melee fighter champion, you know, one that's going to dive in there. He plays, you know, your more traditional APs in the mid lane, the Gragas, the Orianna, Kayle, and obviously Anivia as well that he's brought to the table. So interested how he does with this Yasuo. It's funny because you look at the bans against Alliance, and for the first week, he was banned in pretty much every single game against them. But even when it was open a little bit later on, he didn't bring the Yasuo to the table. And this time, they've not even got any knockups in the team to help him out.
So it's quite a weird combination that Alliance have gone for. Because they've got that Yasuo in the mid lane, if you look at the rest of the composition, with Elise, with Renekton and Sivir, they're very mobile. So they may want to be running around a lot to cause those fights, as opposed to a Wombo combo with his ultimate.
Well, we're going to find out on that one. Very excited to see that Yasuo in action. And we're just a moment away from the match. So let's check out the voting. According to LOLesports.com, 65% of you are calling this one in Alliance's favor. 65%. Interesting there, because it's an even week, and we know that Alliance apparently can only win when it's an even week.
Yeah, I've got a lot of tweets over the course of these last 2 days, basically saying mathematics and statistics do not lie. And statistically speaking, the odds are in Alliance's favor. They won their game yesterday. They were losing for 20 minutes. They lost an inhibitor. Yeah. They lost a Baron. But then all of a sudden, the power of the even week allowed them to pull back, forced SK to stay when they shouldn't have.
Yeah, some even odds favoring person is apparently looking down on them to make sure that they do well in these even weeks. And it is also Froggen's birthday today, so we should mention happy birthday to Froggen. No pressure on you on your birthday, on an even week where you've never lost on an even week. Bringing Yasuo into the game for the first time. But here we go then. We are going to jump into game. It's Millenium versus Alliance. How is this one all going to go down? Alliance looking for a win. As we said, they've not done well. I mean, it's kind of hit and miss for them. Unfortunately for them, the super week that we started off with 4 games, was on the even week. So they lost 4 right off the bat. But since then, well, I think hit and miss is the right way to describe Alliance's performance.
With this team comp, as long as Alliance don't get hit by every single one of Millenium's abilities, the mobility and the skirmish power of their champions should allow them to quite literally run rings around Millenium. Now, Millenium have got stronger initiation. With that Leona on their side, the Solar Flare is a much safer, longer range initiate for Millenium to basically count on. We're looking at Alliance's side, and they're going to be relying on a Flash Tibbers in conjunction with the movement speed from Sivir. So I think team fights, if, like I said, Alliance do not get caught by a multitude of Millenium's abilities, I think they have the tools to kite and run around Millenium to win fights.
I'm interested to see Froggen's wind walls in these as well, because he can block, well, pretty much everything that Gragas can throw your way. We know he likes walls. He plays Anivia. He's famous for his Anivia, and he's good at walls. So that could go working for him.
Yeah, Karthus was banned as well. Wall of Pain with that champion, so he knows how to aim them. What I think is going to be very difficult for Millenium, now that we're about to get the laning phase underway, is Creatine and J-Ree are going to have such a difficult time dealing with Annie and Sivir. Annie is the longest range support in the game right now. She's got an incredible auto attack range. In addition to the stun potential, you can zone a champion like Leona very effectively. We'll see how far forward Nif actually plays this, because he's got the tools to control Creatine and J-Ree.
So here's a start for both junglers. Areneas, Evelynn starting off on the blue buff. Shook starting on the top side of his jungle as well, doing the red. Both of them, of course, getting a little bit of a helping hand from the Trundle and Renekton that we're going to be seeing in that top lane. I'm sure a few of you are sad not to see Irelia here for a second day running. But to be honest, when the Renekton is in there, it's not unlikely to see Wicked just going straight for that one. This mid lane, Yasuo versus Gragas, what are your thoughts on this one?
So both champions are melee. Both champions have got ranged harass, but of course Froggen needs to charge up 3 charges of that Steel Tempest. He's just skilled it right now. Luckily for Froggen, once his flow bar is full like this, he will actually get a damage shield every time Kerp jumps on him. I don't actually think either champion has got kill potential until level 6. And I feel once Froggen puts some points into that wind wall, it's going to be so difficult for Kerp to outplay him, because as long as Froggen saves it for a explosive cast, it's just going to get removed and it's not going to affect him at all.
Very interesting to see how Froggen does on that one. Just you know, when the time when things were moving to more assassins in this mid lane, Froggen had trouble, to be honest, because his champion pool and the way that he likes play just didn't really suit that one. So interesting to see what he does here with the Yasuo. We can see that Aranea already being the invisible Evelyn problem that he is, headed down towards his bottom lane. But the position that Alliance actually had there is probably the best positioning on that bottom lane to get rid of the Evelyn, because she can't move in without you spotting it.
And very importantly as well, Jerry actually missed his Zenith Blade as well. Zenith didn't connect, so there was no CC onto Nif. It's going to be very difficult for Leona to even get onto Sivir because of the spell shield. So she's going to be able to spell shield at least one of the CCs. And in order for Jerry to lock tabs down, he's going to need to go all in. He has to land the Shield of Daybreak and he has to land a Solar Flare, because at least one of those can be mitigated.
Shook is actually in the Millenium jungle right now. See the Aranea just coming around towards the Wraiths, and Shook actually took the southern route and is headed up behind him, and he's going to see that those Wraiths are in fact being done, so he'll move straight in. Actually lands the cocoon here on towards Aranea. That's going to be good damage coming down. Not enough to actually finish off though.
Yeah, Aranea is not going to have a good time. Anytime he wants to duel Elise, Elise has got so many more tools in her kit, has all of her abilities available at level 3, has got, you know, percentage damage, has got built-in sustain, can close gaps thanks to the spider form. So Aranea just needs to try and farm his way up. And what we tend to see with Evelyn's is getting to level 6 and then using that ultimate, the slow from Agony's Embrace, to try and get in and control the lane.
This top lane, Trundle versus Renekton. A good old traditional top lane matchup by now.
Yeah, and if Renekton doesn't beat Trundle in lane, he's doing something wrong. We do tend to see a CS going his way. Nif has been stunned.
Nif has been stunned here, but again, I don't think they've got the damage to follow up, as Jerry going to catch a full combo coming out there from Tabs, but still very early stages in this one, and neither team able to put down the damage to actually secure those kills. So here comes the next move. Shook around that mid area. Kerp not level 6 just yet, so he won't have that explosive casket. Here they go, they're going to go in there. The knock-up actually landing from Froggen, which is a good sign for future engagements from him. But in the end, they weren't able to take out Kerp. He flashed away.
Now, we did see Shook playing the Elise the last time these two teams played as well. When Millenium and Alliance competed, Shook had a number of deaths to his name. Froggen was playing Kayle in that game, and almost every time Shook died on that Elise, Froggen's Kayle was able to get kills. I think he went 9, 2, and 7 or something similar in that matchup, and did very, very well. We'll see if Shook can repeat that performance here today.
Well, Shook is once again headed in for a bit of action on that top side. There is Kevin. Here comes the repel. They dive onto him. Kevin with an early flash underneath his turret to stay safe. Really quick reactions on that one. Aranea was actually there as well. You can see him just kind of leading off from Shook, basically following him or being followed there and keeping up that vision of Shook.
So we talked about which jungler is going to have a more positive impact on the game. And so far, Shook has earned himself 3 brownie points. He beats Aranea in the jungle at the Wraith camp. He's already got Kerp's flash. He's already got Kevin's flash. And he's found Aranea again.
This is very strange from Aranea. Actually going to come in there. The Wicked's going to come over the top as well. There's the gap closer. And there's the finisher. First blood. What was Aranea thinking?
I don't think Aranea even knew that Shook was there. I believe that he was anticipating Wicked to potentially dive. Just took so much damage, and that was just a poor call by Aranea. Shook now grabs himself first blood. He even got the kill on that one. There was no assist from Wicked, even though Wicked tried to flash for it. But very, very good play from Shook in these early stages. Keep in mind, Elise is basically his signature champion, and he has started very well this game.
And he was gifted that kill, honestly. I mean, Aranea saw him go in that bush, knows that he didn't come out into the lane, so he's either waiting in the bush or he's gone down the south side. Strange one for me, but Aranea giving that one up, that gives Shook that first blood. We can see that a pickaxe has been collected here for Wicked on his first trip home. That means he's going to be going in for that Tiamat first of all.
Yeah, and that's very standard in this Renekton Trundle matchup. Rush the Tiamat, then go for something like a Sunfire Cape on the Renekton. It really allows you to bully and control that Trundle. Aranea is going to donate that blue buff over to Kerp, and I think Kerp just really needs to focus on farming. Because of the power of Windwall, we haven't even seen these two really trading all that often, and it's basically because of the fact that Froggen can A, dodge everything, thanks to that quick draw ability of his E. And of course, if any big barrels come in, he's just going to destroy them with that wind wall.
He's farming up a storm right now as well. 65 to the 56 of Kerp. Another interesting fact, and then we'll see whether the blue buff actually is given over to Froggen or whether Shook is actually going to keep that with him and allow him to maybe have a bit more impact around the map from this one. That blue buff is going to be coming up here shortly, so we shall see about that and who exactly is going to get that one. Meanwhile, that lane does just get pushed back under the turret, a position where Froggen will be quite happy, and there's another wind wall coming out. Barrel comes down and Froggen says, nope, you're not doing anything.
So the one thing to keep in mind is that wind wall does have a very, very high cooldown. It is 26 seconds at rank 1. So Froggen needs to be very careful and time his abilities well. In that time frame, Kerp is going to have another Q available, and if he sees an opportunity, he could catch Froggen out. So we'll see who decides to pull that trigger. As it stands, it is just a full-on farming lane. Now that J-Ree is getting closer to 6, the bottom lane also now gets riskier for Nip, because on Annie, you are actually quite squishy if you get caught out.
And there's the answer to the earlier question of if Shook's going to take the blue buff or give it to Froggen, and he will be taking that for himself. And you see there's a bit of an opportunity maybe for them down in this bottom lane. J-Ree and Creaton pushed up past the halfway point. One thing's sure, they don't know where Aranea is, and that's always the problem we're facing an Evelynn.
Yeah, and if Aranea shows in the next few seconds, it may signal go in this bottom lane. We do have On the Hunt available for tabs. Aranea has showed he's going on Wicked.
They're going to go in on towards Wicked. Can they hold him down? There's a good pillar coming out from Kevin, and Wicked's not escaping this one. Aranea picks up that kill. Meanwhile, down in the bottom, they've managed to get everything on towards J-Ree. Wow, what a solar flare, though. That will stop them pushing in. Brilliant defense from Millenium whilst getting the kill up top.
Yeah, very, very well played. Kevin with a perfectly placed pillar prevents Wicked from getting away. Wicked didn't have his flash. Remember from the earlier kill where he tried to grab something onto Aranea. We did see a flash Tibbers is down for Nif, so he used that to engage. Alliance thinking about Dragon, but this is very risky because the rest of them of Millenium could come to challenge.
And I wonder if they're actually going to go for this one. The fact is that there's no solar flare in there, but on the other side, a couple of ultimates were used during that one. Sivir and, of course, Tibbers being thrown down from the bottom lane of Alliance, and they also have Millenium, at least the teleport on Trundle that they can factor into those things. So we should keep an eye on Kevin and whether he will be making a visit down towards this bottom side of the map. As it actually happened, they backed away. No Dragon attempt as of yet.
And that's a very important thing that you bring up, the fact that Kevin has that teleport. Once Trundle goes for his Blade of the Ruined King and then gets himself towards a Sunfire Cape or similar, he's going to be a very big split pushing threat. Shook has caught Kerp and they're going to go in.
Oh, that's a lot of damage coming in. We did see the barrel thrown at Froggen to keep him away, and that was a wise move from Kerp. Froggen not quite quick enough there to get his wind wall out in time as we've seen him before, and there was a pink ward cleared out by Millenium. So they know that the possibility of that Dragon was there. They now know that they've backed off somewhat from it as well, so Dragon stays alive for a little while.
Yeah, 11 minutes on the clock. Both Millenium and Alliance have had good Dragon control games, and they've both had poor Dragon control games. I think that with the fact that Millenium have got such a strong 5v5 with the Leona, with the Gragas, with the Trundle, Alliance need to be in a very, very strong position if they start Dragon off. Because if they get surrounded, if a teleport comes in or Solar Flare locks them up in the pit, that's going to be a lot of dead Alliance members. So Alliance need to be very, very safe in their decision-making in that area.
Kevin, obviously, with the help of Aranea in this top lane, are able to secure a kill, and actually gives the Vamp Scepter and a Chain Vest here for Kevin early on. So he's kind of split in where he's initially going with his build. We see that they've started off Dragon, but there is a ward there currently, and they're going to teleport to it. Here comes the rest of Millenium. Who are they going to go for? They're all over the place right now, and Aranea's going to get focused very, very low. He actually did flash into the rest of his team. Kevin's tanking up. Here comes a Batman from the back. Kurt blows up one of them. Can they get any more? Shook is surely going to be chased and finished off, and it will be a double for Gragas and Kurt. Millenium open themselves up the Dragon.
The Solar Flare didn't even connect particularly well, but because Alliance have got a stronger team in those situations, Alliance just got split apart, and once Kerp joined the party, he grabs himself some kills. We talked about the fact that Alliance needed to have kills, or they needed to be in a controlling situation in the pit. They had neither, and they just got melted. Their team is not as strong in those enclosed spaces, and Millenium played that one perfectly.
And Kerp is hammering away on this middle turret. He's going to have a fresh wave of minions coming down. Not sure he's going to have the damage to actually finish off before Yasuo gets here. But it's a good chunk of damage done. The top turret did go down there as well for Alliance. That was the first one
Kerp's in trouble.
of the game actually coming in. And he will be in a little bit of trouble here. Possibly. There's the knock-up. There's the ultimate. Kerp throws his barrel out, which will knock Wicked into the turret. And here comes Aranea from the side. He's not got much mana here, Aranea. I was going to say, needs to be real careful. Oh, the cocoon from the side. Froggen getting the kill there with the Steel Tempest.
And now all of a sudden, Alliance, if they want to, they could go for the tower. Instead, they decide that blue buff is up and they want to try and deny that one. We see a couple of pings. They're going to tower dive. All of a sudden, Arenea's in trouble, but running in heals, he's going to get away quite cleanly. There's not even a raid camp to jump to, so Shook's going to take a couple extra turret hits. And that's interesting because now they don't get the tower and they don't get the blue buff instead.
Well, let's see about this, because he might get another tower. The bottom one is being hammered away at by both Tabs and Nif. There's no one really in immediate range to stop this one from happening. That will fall, and it will put Alliance 2-0 up in turrets. They get a blue buff as well here for Shook. So one of the questions that I had earlier about whether Froggen gets it or Shook, this time around they can possibly at least both get it.
Yeah, and Tim, what you tend to see whenever you go for those invades and steals is that the jungler will smite it away. You reduce the risk of a steal. Alliance eventually got hold of that blue buff thanks to the kills that they got in that middle lane. I think trying to chase kills down in Aranea and just keep him shut down for as long as possible. Alliance, 2 kills on the board, one of them on the jungler, one of them on Froggen's Yasuo. He's got his static shift completed. Once Froggen gets his Infinity Edge, that's when he becomes absolutely terrifying. Because of the passive of Yasuo giving you that double critical hit chance, you get to 100% thanks to the runes and masteries that he's picked up as well.
And he's going to be getting that blue, as I mentioned just a little bit earlier on as well. Or not. I'm just telling lies. Froggen actually... Whatever.
Fair,
it goes over
like
to Shook.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to do that one, but actually what they're doing is coming down to this bottom lane, which Millenium have a ward already in that tri-bush, so they're going to spot them out there. They're not going to be losing any members down on that bottom side, keeping it safe, and they'll have even seen that Froggen and Shook backing away from that one, and even now coming back into that bottom lane.
So Froggen's just coming in to defend this wave. You see that Tabs wanted to back away. He had enough money to finish that Bloodthirster, grab himself the attack speed dagger as well. And thanks to the fact that Shook moved to the middle lane, he was able to defend. Big Wraith gets stolen away by Kerp as well, so Shook not even, rather Wicked not getting his hands on it. Overall, I think Alliance are doing well for this stage in the game, but they need to avoid getting caught out in those big team fight areas. As it stands, Millennium's composition is better at it. They just have more tools to work with in 5v5s. Aranea is going to try his hand at another gank on Wicked. Wicked doesn't have flash either.
And Aranea does have his ultimate available. Have they got the damage here? This is a Renekton that's rushed Tiamat. It's not a tanky Renekton that we might see in other times. And the pillar goes down. He's going to pop his ultimate, but he's not getting out of that one. Kevin picks up a kill. And to be honest, Wicked has just had no impact in this top lane. They've controlled him.
No, Kevin and Aranea just made that look so easy. Even though Wicked has given himself a small CS lead of 25, he's got 2 deaths to his name, 1 kill for Kevin, 1 kill for Aranea. You do have to give him credit for at least securing the tower. So if or when Alliance decide to push around the map, that objective is no longer there for them. But because of the fact that Alliance have got those 2 towers, that's the only reason their gold is still a little bit ahead. Millennium with a very good gank in that top lane.
Yeah, and the scary thing is that Millennium haven't taken any turrets yet at this point in the game. So once they start to fall, that gold swing is going to be coming in. And the other thing that could influence that is the fact that Dragon is coming up once again here in less than 2 minutes. And we've already seen that Dragon has drawn in the big fights in this game.
Now, Alliance need to have learned from that previous Dragon fight. Alliance cannot afford to start it off again without having full vision. And if they are on the Dragon, play it like you play Baron. Peel away from it the moment you see a member of Millennium there and try to take them down. I mean, we've seen Jay Reed and Pearson coming from the bottom lane in that previous engagement. Alliance have the tools to find a quick kill and then fight with more numbers, but they need to be very quick on the trot.
No, Wicked, after dying there, I said he's only got that team out, which was true at the time, but he was obviously sitting on quite a boatload of gold because he comes back in with Giant's Belt, Chain Vest, and a Negatron Cloak in there as well. On the other side, Sunfire Cape is finished off for Kevin's Trundle along with the Cutlass as well, so he's going up to that pretty standard Blade of the Rune King as well.
We're at this point in the game now that Kevin has hit the item threshold and the level threshold where the lane bullion strength of Renekton has now been mitigated. Because of all of the ability points that Kevin has got in that frozen domain, the fact that he can subjugate the tanky stats of Wicked, and he can chomp to reduce his attack damage, Kevin all of a sudden now has control of this lane. So we'll see if Kevin can make the additional CS up and try catch back up to Wicked. But as it stands, he's doing a very good job in a lane matchup that was against him from the start.
Well, will Froggen take the bait here on the bottom lane? It's Creaton who's farming himself up there, and Froggen just sits back and says no. Oh, Zeddy Blade missing there from Jerry. That would have set them up nicely to have a go at Froggen. In the end, if it doesn't land, you can't really do much about that one.
So that's the second time we've seen Jerry trying to make it happen with RNA waiting in the wings. What I like from Millenium is that they're not committing once it misses. They do back away. If the kill had happened, because Dragon is up literally right now, it would have allowed Millenium to get in on the Dragon. Teleport is available for Kevin. We'll see if he's deciding to go back. And Wicked is already moving down the lane. But look at the positioning of Millenium. They've got such a good zone control.
Too slow.
Alliance aren't even challenging.
Yep, nowhere near it. There's Wicked too slow to come down from the top lane, and that will be a free Dragon for Millenium. 2 out of 2 now that they do have. And the fact that their duo lane is no longer in that bottom lane, or wasn't even in the middle lane where they'd moved to during the start of that Dragon, which for me is a little bit strange considering they knew the timer on the Dragon. Not planned out maybe as Alliance were looking for. Something we've talked about in the past, that their objective control rotations and general calls have not really been all that strong, and that's a good example of it right there.
Perfect example of it. Unfortunately, Alliance responding too late. Even after the showing, even after Millenium tried to get a kill on Froggen, there was no alarm bells going, oh, hang on a minute, Dragon's up right now. So, fortunately, Alliance, they don't get control of the pit. What we do see from the rest of Millenium, though, is they seem to be quite happy stalling this game out and extending it. And I think it's a smart decision. Trundle is going to scale very, very well. Kerpon Gragas is going to do incredible amounts of damage in the late game. Think back to Battle of the Atlantic, where he threw the barrels out against, was it CLG if memory serves correctly, and just melted them. He popped them with a good combo. And Alliance, they are not going to be super strong in a tower siege situation. Alliance want fights in large open spaces where they can kite and dodge Millenium's abilities.
Yeah, they're not going to have much to offer under the towers, are they? That's for sure. A little bit of poke here and there, but not really all that much for Alliance. So we'll see about that one as things develop. We're about to hit the 20-minute mark, so let's run down the gold and how it stands. Currently, there's not a big difference whatsoever. It's around about 400 gold separating them. Alliance do have the turret lead, though, on that one, so as soon as those turrets are leveled up, it's going to give Millenium the edge.
In terms of the power that the teams have, they need to play different games. I think Millenium have got a slightly better split pusher with a teleport Trundle, but they have less effective assassins. I think that if Yasuo, Elise, and Annie get on a target, regardless of who it is, there's very good kill potential. All of a sudden, Wicked is in trouble as here comes Aranea.
He's in trouble again in the top side, and he's going to be caught out. He puts his ultimate down, but that's not going to be enough to keep him alive. Kevin picks that one up. A third time, just completely caught out there. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, we see a lot of pings coming in. Actually, Alliance have been spotted from this one. Jerry going to get ulted on by Froggen. Can he actually get away from this one? He's used the Solar Flare. He's Zenith blades out on towards Shook and then flashes over the wall. It's all about the cocoon. Where's the cocoon? The spider link, and the cocoon does land. Froggen picks it up.
Shook was able to 1v1 Creaton. All of Creaton's HP is missing because of the damage Shook put down. He's got a Haunting Guise and Sorcerer Shoes already completed. While that was happening, Froggen jumped onto Jerry instantly, and Alliance, as we talked about, have got very good assassins. They've got burst damage, and they can shut single targets down. What Alliance need to do now is figure out how to get onto the objective. Aranea is doing good wave clear in the mid lane, and at the end of the day, Kevin got the tower up top, so losing Jerry for flashes from Alliance plus a tower, I think Millenium will be happy with that trade.
Yeah, we saw that Aranea pushing out, and just the pure nature of those hate spikes, that Sivir with a short range can't actually stand behind the minions and hit the tower without the hate spike splashing through and doing the damage. That's a bit of a pain actually for Sivir on these turrets, and obviously Nif with a bigger range doesn't really do all that much damage to them. But Alliance here looking like they're going to be recalling out somewhat. One thing that we should definitely point out now is the mid laners. Rabadon's death cap is done for Gragas, but the Infinity Edge is done for Froggen's Yasuo.
Now, the fact that he's got the Infinity Edge is a very big power spike. He's going to have basically guaranteed critical hits right now. It should be at 100% thanks to his runes and those 2 items. He's got no lifesteal, so Froggen is looking to just blow somebody up and then move onto a turret. If you think to yesterday's game, Millenium ran a composition with Elise, Renekton, and Annie. They had 3 of the 5 picks. They had Fizz in the mid lane, another assassin. And the problem for Millenium was at this stage of the game, the 20 to 40 minute mark, they had no way of starting a fight. Right now, Alliance is in a very similar position. They're trying to brute force onto the tower, taking some damage, and here comes Kurt from behind.
Oh, they're going to go, first of all, on towards Wicked. He's taking a decent amount of damage. Actually, RNA going to get cocooned. There's a great solar flare. They're focusing down Nif for the back, and Nif will fall. Creatine gets that one. Can he take any more? He's definitely got the power to have a good go at it. Wicked, oh, brilliant pillar comes down. Kevin actually getting that one, and there he goes, flashing over the wall on towards Shug, who was on a ward, so they had the vision of him. Where's the spider going to go? Repels up over the top on towards the golems, but can he escape this one? There's minions there, so they're going to get the vision of him. Here comes Kurt from around the side. There's the barrel after the body slam. 3 for 1.
3 for 1. Froggen was trying to move to the mid lane to fight. He has split push to get a tower at the very least. So what Alliance realize is they cannot start a fight in a 5v5 because they're afraid of the power. In addition to that, because they lack initiation, you see Alliance trying to force this middle lane tower. They didn't even get the tower. Millenium come, they have a good flank from the side, and Tibbers was blown just on RNA. Nobody else was stunned. Creatine has been untouched. He's literally in between 4 members of Alliance and has not taken any damage until this very second. Here comes Kevin from the backside, and he's just going to be able to close the fight out. I think Alliance did not need to force that. Alliance didn't need to. They could have just backed away, let Froggen split push, and tried to take it when it was a little safer.
And RNA actually proudly told me last week after the show, my strategy that seems to have been working out decently for us is to quite simply die, to be the focus of the fights for the enemy team. And you just saw it, you said it yourself looking at that replay, how much they threw in at Aranea, and they were completely focused on him as well. One thing to note here, Thornmail's been picked up by Kevin, so he has got an absolute ton of armor at this point. And again, we saw the downfall of the Sivir. Tiny range trying to hit those turrets leaves her in complete easy solar flare range, or not just solar flare range, but everything really that Millenium have got to start off.
Everything range. It's a new phrase.
Everything
We're going to coin it. That Thornmail is also very important because Renekton, Yasuo, and Sivir do rely a fair amount on their auto attacks. Yasuo is going to be throwing out those Steel Tempests, but in between his Steel Tempests, he's going to be casting a lot of abilities to deal damage, and the Thornmail is going to reduce all of that physical. So very good item pickup. I think Kevin's going to need or want more HP before he becomes super unkillable. But this is something that Alliance is also lacking that we haven't really touched on yet. There is a severe lack of magic damage. There is no bursty mage. Yes, Elise and Annie are going to offer some magic damage, but nowhere near the same scale as a Deathcap Void Staff Gragas, which is what we're in the makings of right now.
Yeah, and another thing about that Thornmail, let's not forget that 30% of Froggen's 100% crit strikes that he puts down onto Trundle are going to be returned to him as well, so that's a surefire way for Froggen to almost kill himself in those scenarios. Be interesting to see. Obviously, he's not going to want to touch Kevin when it comes to that. The same goes there for Tabs. So we'll see once it comes towards these next team fights. Right now, Froggen is pushing down this top lane, trying to push it up once again, but we're going to see Gragas actually coming across the side here, which is going to say, nope, you're not going to go through. Just stop that wave.
So watching the way the game is being played out now for these last 5 or 6 minutes, if memory serves, when Alliance played against Super Hot Crew, Froggen was on Kayle, and Alliance couldn't win team fights. They weren't strong enough to challenge the Super Hot Crew. They weren't really in a position where they could pick fights. So what Froggen did in that game was try to split push solo. He left the rest of his team to sit in a 4-on-4, 4-on-5 situation and said, I want towers, I want to try control the map. And that's what Froggen seems to be doing. For a long time now, he's been in that bottom or the top lane just farming. He's got a fair number of towers. I mean, he's down towards that inhibitor turret in the top lane, but it's not really offering him a huge amount of control. RNA is in trouble.
Yeah, face check into that one, and he might just have to actually got no flash to burn from this one in the end, though. There comes Kevin around the side, the troll pillar coming in, and Shut can't chase on any further. But again, risky times for Aranea, but he has got the Randuins in there now, so he's a little bit tankier than he was before.
Only against physical damage.
True story.
Because all of that damage Shook just put out was magic, and Aranea lost 60% of his HP, but he's got no MR. I mean, he's got armor boots, and he's got, I don't even know what that amp term is going to become. We'll see what he decides to work towards. But at this stage, at this point in time, Shook can deal damage. Froggen's been caught out.
Yeah, you killed yourself, Froggen. That's not good. Aranea comes around the side. Is he going to chase over the top? No, Froggen's got away. away. Creatin's actually coming in from this one, though. He will go over the top of the wall. The repel from Shunk brought him back on towards Aranea. He'll pay the price. Oh, he flashed straight in towards the ultimate out of J-Re. The Zenith blade caught him in the end. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Both junglers dead. I
don't understand the flash, though. I mean, he was definitely going to go down. I don't know if he was just trying to deny the kill credit to Creatin or maybe just reduce an assist, but at the end of the day, he gets taken out, gets dropped in that situation, and now Alliance, they do get a 1-for-1 trade jungler for jungler. Froggen gets away, and we've seen Wicked trying to get towards the turret in the bottom lane, but unfortunately, wave clear from Millenium is just too strong, so it's not going to happen this time.
We see that Froggen up to 304 CS, quite a way behind our new record, which I believe was 684 or 5, somewhere around that ridiculous region. Actually, that was put up by Forgiven in their game yesterday for the Copenhagen Wolves. Let's see if we get anywhere near that level in this one. We're 28 minutes in currently. Millenium holding on to a lead, but it's only a 2,000 gold lead at this point.
It is a small gold lead. You have to remember that Millenium have had dragon control, Alliance are a tower ahead, and in terms of those, the gold difference, it is made up from the CS. Every single one of the lanes for Alliance is slightly ahead, barring the supports. Even that isn't a particularly big deal right now. But Froggen, he needs to have a bigger impact on this Yasuo. We've seen him controlling the waves and controlling the towers fairly well, but his last breaths haven't necessarily netted him the kills that we were anticipating. And because he's got nobody else on his team to actually synergize for those knockups to make it easier to get a last breath, you have to question the thought process behind that pick in this composition.
And speaking about that, all that physical damage that the Alliance have here, we see that actually the Warden's Mail is now added in there for Kevin as well, so he's going to have, well, a boatload of armor.
And I think Aranea may even be working himself towards a Zhonya's Hourglass. He's got the makings of that Seeker's Arm Guard, and like you said, with all the physical damage from Alliance, the moment Millenium hit that armor peak where every single one of them has some form of armor, it's going to work in their favor. There is a Last Whisper for Tabs, and Froggen is going to get bonus armor reduction from his last breath, but he needs to hit you with it. So he needs to get his ultimate across multiple members of Millenium to burn through some of the excess armor, which again makes it very difficult when you've got the only knock-up on your team.
He's going to be needing a Last Whisper in there, that's for sure. If we get to that stage at this point, we are in a bit of a farm game. Shook actually not going to get caught out there. Aranea was just on top of him, and we saw the sweeping lens just being used to clear out what vision was there. Tab's actually on this top side, so Kevin, I say Kevin might be in trouble here, but that's really just over-dramatizing the fact that he's never going to go down to Sivir and Renekton.
For a conversation point, at 30 minutes into the game, because of the movement speed that Kevin gets from his frozen domain, he still hasn't picked up boots. He's been running across the map barefoot right now, and you still can't catch him or lock him down because of the power that Trundle has. And you know what? Alliance haven't even tried. Here come Millenium, look for Solar Flare.
Oh, that was a really good cocoon coming out, but look at this, the Troll's got his pillar down. That means Shook is all trapped up. It's a good repel to get himself out of there, but the barrel won't save him. Nif is going to be chased down. Aranea is in the middle, underneath the tower. He will kill Nif. I'm not sure that Alliance can push back. Look at Froggen though on the map. He's pushing down towards the in-him turret, and Tabs here, he's trying to stop them recalling. They can't keep up with that because of Kirk's barrels. Are we going to see them coming around? Look at Froggen, he's come towards the mid lane. Is he going to wait for someone to come back? They're not going to come actually, they're just going to recall.
Tabs had his spell shield, he didn't even use it against the Gragas barrel. Millenium forced the fight and they make it work. They grabbed themselves 2 kills. Unfortunately, they didn't have the minion wave to work with them, so they couldn't sit and try to push for a tower. In addition, because of the pressure that Froggen was applying on the inhibitor turret, it forced Millenium to respond. They needed to send somebody to deal with him, and that allowed Alliance to, dare I say, get away only losing 2 kills.
Yeah, they didn't get anything, but it didn't really do any damage onto that tower though either, so slightly unfortunate. It did stop Millenium from, I guess we could say, sticking around there and pushing anymore, but nothing really more than that here from Froggen. He's just looking for those setup kills once again. Kevin's definitely not his target. We've seen that over and over, that he's not the man for Yasuo to be focusing down, although that Bloodthirst is going to help him out a lot more in that respect now. We've moved to that kind of slow, but further into the point of the game where if you make a mistake, you're going to lose a couple of men, and that unfortunately, 32 to 40 minutes into the game means a couple of towers and possibly inhibs.
What I would like to see Millenium doing, they have 4 sweeping lenses, so I think they have 2 options available to them. Get control of vision in and around Baron and the red buff side of Alliance, and then try to force Alliance to respond to a Baron play. Once Alliance move in, then you can throw down the Solar Flare, use the Explosive Cask, and try grab some kills. Alternatively, what it looks like they're doing now, they can siege up. Yep. I think these are the 2 tools that Millenium has that Alliance have very little answer to. Look at the Gragas Barrel, completely zoning Alliance away. Unless Alliance throw themselves in, which they can't because Froggen's not with them, it means Millenium can basically grab themselves and inhibit on fight.
Oh, Nif getting caught out and absolutely destroyed there by the culling coming down. And Team Kirk going to take a lot of damage here. Throws his barrel out towards Tab. Look at Wicked. He was supposed to be the tank, but now he's dead. Shook falls to low. HP Tab's as low as well. There's a repel, but he can't go anywhere. They did pick up the 1 kill on towards Aranea. Are they going to get any more? Froggen has taken down the inhib turret there. Is Trundle coming back for it, and he's going to have a go at Froggen here. And honestly, he's winning this one out. He's doing so much damage. There's the ultimate. It's not going to do diddly squat. Kevin goes low. Froggen's low. Pillar comes down. Kevin gets the kill. Life steals back off the minions. There is Tabs going down as well in the base. Millenium have just got an ace out of nowhere.
They've grabbed themselves an inhibitor as well, and you have to think that Froggen did well in that fight. If he had a Last Whisper, he would probably have won, but he doesn't have one in his inventory. We did see the armor penetration working in his favor, and that massive shield from his passive at level 18, which he is. It's 690 damage that it blocked. Worked out in his favor. Unfortunately, not going to be enough to allow him to actually pick up the kill. Now that Millenium have got super minions streaming into the base, well, they will be in a moment. They've started off the Baron. We said they had 2 tools available, Siege or Baron. They've done both.
Oh, they spotted Nif there at the back with that ward that's gone over. They're going to clear out one. Not for long, though. Another one comes straight back in. Nif basically going to be the chance. Throws Tibbers in there. Will the tick get it? No, it won't. Millenium pick up Baron.
That would have been fantastic if it happened, but Millenium, they've got all the tools available to them. They've had every single dragon. They've caught the first Baron of the game. They're even on towers now with Alliance. And thanks to this whole procession, you can see so much gold on the side of Millenium. They're going to start upgrading their items. Infinity Edge, Triforce, Bloodthirster, Last Whisper on Creatin's Lucian. And if you think how strong Creatin is on Lucian, when Millenium destroyed Super Hawkru, he also went unkilled. It's definitely a great champion, and we've seen the feature on Creatin, how he says he feels the pressure to perform. He's definitely performing this game.
And we see that Kevin actually has decided it's time for a little bit of magic with this in there. He's got his Merc Threads.
Yeah,
that's all he needs,
it's all the MR that you need. You look at the rest of his items, I mean, that's basically a full build on Trundle. He needs to be a little careful because Froggen now does have that Last Whisper. Final Breath is up, but there's no barrier. There goes Froggen.
Yeah, does he care? No, he doesn't. Cullen's going to come to support him, and Kevin does all the damage in the world. That's, wow, Creatin going so low. Good knock-up coming in. Meanwhile, they are going to catch out Kirk. Can they follow through? The Troll flashes over. J-Ree going to flash in there as well. Wicked's a dead man. Creatin actually picking that one up to go 6-0-4, and now Aranea comes around the side. He doesn't have that Sonya's just yet. Actually had his Randuins, which he didn't use to slow them all down. Millenium are going to be happy with that. A 2-for-1 scenario anyway. What are they going to do next, though, here? They've got that Baron buff on. They're going to have the region. I think that Alliance has to give up this turret.
Yeah, there's very little that Alliance can do. There is, however, a Flash Tibbers available as well as on the hunt. So Alliance thinking about defending. They've caught him up, but Tabs has jumped on.
Yeah, but what's that Flash Tibbers going to do for them? It ends up costing them 1 life. Now Nif Julie going to be chased down. A bite from Kevin. There's actually a good Cocoon coming on towards J-Ree. The stun from Nif as well. They're still chasing. Tibbers is pushing up the backside of him as well. There is the finisher. It's the culling for Creatin. There are 4 men down. Millenium can win the game.
That's the game. Super minions are onto the Nexus turrets, and with Creatin untouched, he's going to be able to melt these towers.
Shook cannot do anything about this one. Froggen actually coming back in. Who's he going for? No one really. He's dead again. There is the fall of Shook, and the Nexus turrets do start to go down. Wicked will respawn in. That won't be enough for them though. And Millenium are going to take down Alliance. Brilliant performance, a much needed win for them as well.
Yeah, the curse has been broken. Alliance losing a game on an even week, and you have to think picks and bans was arguably where it started. Locking in that Yasuo as the final pick, just not really working up, and there was no other knockups on the side of Alliance, and unfortunately for them, the split push strategy didn't work.
Aranea putting his belt on after that victory. Interesting stuff there from him before they go over and shake hands. But as we talked about, we made light of this whole odd week, even week thing. But it's been something to count on, at least for Alliance in weeks 2 and 4. And in the first game of week 6, where they picked up wins. And to be honest, they need them. If not in any other game, in this one against Millenium, who were bottom of the table, this was